Hello, and welcome back to Soulstar Radio. I'm Jacquelene Postmore, coming to you live from a cafe in Benalla in Victoria, which is a very exciting place. It's kind of excitingly restful. It's a place out there and amongst the farming sort of area of Victoria in Australia, and I'm actually on my way to Yarrawonga, and it is said that you'll linger longer in Yarrawonga. Depending on your accent, that can get very interesting. Yarrawonga is on the border of Victoria and New South Wales. So there's Yarrawonga, Mulwala. And I'm going to be staying at the lake, hilariously, at a place called DC on the lake. And, of course, coming to you live, theoretically or possibly literally from Washington, DC, when it's broadcast through there. So it's kind of a truly global, rural, regional and city show that we have here, and I'm having all sorts of fun with not being able to view chat screens. So if you're writing comments in the comment field on the live video feed, I'm terribly sorry, I can't see a thing. Flying as blind as a bat with sonar, so not really blind, just using other senses today. So I'll be taking callers and talking about life, and in the meantime I'd like to celebrate the lives and also pay respect to the passing of some real legends. Just in the last couple of weeks we've had the passing of Aretha Franklin, the Queen of Soul, and of course many of her songs are anthems of a number of social and civil rights movements in American history and also around the world, and certainly I've loved listening to her music. And we've also had the passing of John McCain, and he's sort of called for unity in a very divided time we find ourselves in. And also just overnight we've had the passing of Burt Reynolds. So I'd like to pay respect and condolences to the family and all of those close to those people. And also we've also had a political death this last couple of weeks in Australia. We've gone with yet another Prime Minister. We seem to do that quite often. And there's been talk of bullying and intimidation involved in that and in his demise. So it's going to be very interesting times we'll be moving through. And I do remember being asked by a reporter back in, I think, 2012 when we had the election in which Julia Gillard won her last term. One of the rolling swinging doors on different prime ministers in Australia at that period of time, and I got asked, so who do you think will win? And I said Julia Gillard will win, but is it really a win, because it's going to be a very unstable period in politics, really right through till 2025, 2026 and onwards, because we've got Pluto going through Capricorn through that whole period, and of course it rises up fear, but it also has a lot of challenges to authority, because Capricorn rules schools, rules government, finance, all these sorts of areas. And of course we had from 2008 right through to 2025, 26, we've got Pluto and Capricorn, and so we're looking really at the birth of Occupy Wall Street, the complete change in how we view those who have a lot and those who have not quite so much, and having to be doing more with less when it comes to finances. And even in the housing industry, we see the birth of the tiny homes, whereas when Pluto was in Sagittarius, it was like, would you like fries with that mansion of yours? And so once people had to realise they were going to be having to pay for the heating and cooling of those houses, they decided they wanted to be a lot smaller. So it's a whole sense of practicality that's come through into the way that we now look at housing and even how we live. So there's a lot of changes going on there. And so hopefully we've got a caller coming up soon. I'm just going to have to listen in to my producer to get that. And we do. Thank you very much for our callers. I'm sorry if I can't get into every call today, but hopefully we'll get somewhere with these ones. And in the meantime, sending lots of love, light, healing and laughter out into the world. This week I'm at Yarrawonga, and on the 30th of September I'll be in Epping, Victoria, and also going to be, in the meantime, the 21st and the 24th of September, I'll actually be in Brisbane. So doing a bit of travelling around Australia. In the meantime, I'm going to go to my first caller. We've got Michelle in Rhode Island, and thank you very much to my producer for bringing that voice and text through there. So are you there, Michelle? Can you hear me?
Yes, I am.
Hello and welcome to the show, and thank you very much for calling in this evening, morning and afternoon, depending on where in the world we are. So I'd like to thank you for calling in. So if I can, I usually start with a date of birth to work with someone's energy. It stops me from picking up on people I pass by in the supermarket, usually next to the soft cheese for some reason, and luckily I'm not next to you in the supermarket right now. But if I can start with your date of birth, if that's all right.
Sure. 10/31. 1961.
Not a worry, and thank you very much for that. So I've got your birthday as the 31st of October 1961, is that right?
That's correct.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for that. I do feel you're really good at putting the order into other people's lives where they're needing it and bringing things under control where they're sort of out of control. And you can sort of find that that's really easy for you to do for other people and not quite so easy for yourself. This year is all about the home, the heart, the family. It's been a very busy year for you, and having to really recalibrate your energy and get things back into square one. It's sort of like having to start again. And I do feel regeneration of energy when I'm talking about that, but it is really one of having to sort of take yourself one step at a time this year. You can't kind of force issues that you might want to force. You have to sort of take this one step at a time, because if we try to force things, sometimes it's like trying to force open the petals of a flower, for example. They're going to bloom when they're going to bloom. And if we try and force it quicker, then we end up just harming the flower. So it's really important to be, I guess, a bit more gentle with yourself in how you're looking at expanding the different things that you're wanting to do, and even how you're looking at, the things you're wanting to bring to an end. It's a very big time for you, I feel, and I just feel as well, it's like the first part of the year, it's very busy. It's hard to sort of keep a containment on things, and you can find yourself a bit run off your feet. And really from September onwards, it's much more about looking at, okay, what's my heart in here? Is this what I really want? And do I want to keep going on this sort of journey? Was there a question you wanted me to look at there with you?
Yes. I was wondering if I'm on the right direction for my life purpose.
I do feel so. I feel like you've made some massive changes this year, and particularly around June, you've started thinking about things quite differently on the emotional front and on the closer to home front, if that makes sense to you.
Yes, it does. I just left a 10-year abusive relationship, so I'm starting to think about myself now.
I love that you're doing that, because this year you're actually literally in a 6-year, and because your birthday is right down in October, the energy for you may actually, you find, shift about June, July each year anyway, where you sort of shift gears a lot. And this is your real chance, I think, to start actually driving ahead in a way that's actually going to be incredibly exciting, very fulfilling and incredibly empowering in your life. Not just from this particular breakup perspective, but I actually feel like you're turning at a fork in the road here, and you're supercharging it from here. I really love that you're now taking the time to look after and love yourself, and self-love in that sense of that universality of it, of let's look after me in order for me to look after other people, whereas in the past it's been, got to worry about everyone else. This sense of looking after yourself first so you can give from the overflow is actually far more giving to others in a way, because you're coming from that balanced space, whereas in the past it's been give, nothing left, collapse, crash, let's go and do it again. So every time you've sort of gotten back up, there's another person sort of tanking, and this is where, you stepping forward now is a really good thing, and I want to give you congratulations on taking the courage to do that, because it does feel like it's taken a lot of courage. You've had to sort of step outside of what you thought you were entitled to, and now you're believing you're worth much more in actuality, instead of thinking it, you're actually living it now. So you're walking that talk of what you hope for others to actually achieve that for yourself, if that makes sense.
Yes, it does. My other question was, I'm disabled and my finances are not good at all. My question is, I have a medical lawsuit that's coming up. Do you see anything positive at all? I've been waiting 14 years.
Now, is something significant coming up in the next 2 months with that? Or is it 2 weeks?
In the next 2 months?
Yep. Are you aware of any specific court date or anything in specific that is in the, it seems like 2 I keep getting. So I'm just not sure if I'm dealing with weeks or months, but what I'll say is it does feel like this is coming to more of a head very soon. I do feel they're going to want to negotiate with you. And it's kind of like up until now they thought you would just go away, you would go away, and kept trying to make you go away. But I feel correct. As if they're now going to want to pay you to go away. So I kind of prefer that they do pay you to go away, but as long as that doesn't cut out any government-related entitlements. That's what I'd be worried about here, because I don't want the amount of money that comes to you to fall short of what you need right up to what might be a pension age. I'm not quite sure what you have in America regards that, but I want you to make sure that when this comes in, that you do your fact-checking on what your actual needs are going to be, not just what they're telling you, they're giving you, and this is what you should accept. You need to make sure that it's actually going to be sufficient for what you actually need here. That's going to be the important thing.
My son has already started a trust fund for me, and he'll be in charge of it. That way I don't lose my disability.
I love your son. This guy is an amazing young person who is so very protective of you. He's really got a business brain in his head, whether he's in business or not, it's not really what I'm talking about. He's just got this understanding of what's needed.
You are 100%. He has an IQ of 182. I homeschooled him for 7 years, and he just paid off $60,000 in student loans in a year and a half.
He's an amazing young man, and I'm so glad you've got him in your corner. He's like your living angel, darling. I really want to send a big shout out to this young man because no matter what happens to you that seems like bad luck, he's your good luck charm, and he is going to be throughout the rest of your life. He's going to make sure Mum is looked after. And you know how the old saying is, watch out, Mama Bears are coming. Don't go petting the cubs because Mama Bear's around the corner. Wow, you know. Well, he's kind of like the Mama Bear here.
Yeah, the thing is he doesn't want me in a nursing home, so he'll hire private nurses to take care of me at his place.
Oh, I can see a grand 2-story house when this is all happening later on. There is there's a balcony, a rounded balcony, and this is like dark wrought iron balcony, and all this beautiful, really warm coloured wood. And I'm standing on the second floor, and I've got this rounded area, and then I've got the stairs, and I'm like, okay, so where's the lift? Because Mum's going to need a lift here. But I'm standing on top of this balcony, looking down, going, life is good. I'm like really feeling, I just love where you're going, because for all you've been through, and to homeschool this kid and him get such a high IQ, you know, you've got to give yourself some credit here too, darling. I mean, he was born this way. I think he doesn't fit the normal mould, and isn't that great? No. Lady Gaga didn't fit the normal mould, and neither did Cyndi Lauper, and look at where those girls have gone, and so many other stories of people.
He was a surprise. He was a gift from God, because I couldn't have children at 19, and my husband couldn't have children. So we didn't plan on it. We were going to adopt. It was going to take 2 years, and there he came on Christmas. I found out I was pregnant, and he was born the following August.
Yep. No, an amazing, amazing young man. I'm just so rapt that this is, you know, I'm not worried about your future here, because I see this young man, and I just know that he's going to make sure that this is taken care of. And, you know, so you just got to keep the faith here. I think it's good you're fighting this the whole way. There is some kind of precedent that seems to be getting set here. I don't understand whether I'm using a legal term or whether I'm using simply a word in relation to change being created on some level. But I seem to go towards that word. But I'm no lawyer, okay? And this is not legal advice, but I just really feel like, oh, this is exciting. I'm looking forward to this one, because, you know, this has been a long time coming, and it really is part of what seems to be a big change sweeping through, not just in your case around that sort of time. So I'm excited for what this will do for you and where this will in fact go. And I just want to congratulate you on that, because you've actually had a lifetime, I feel, of helping people. You've been very community minded. You haven't always been able to be as active as you've wanted to be with people, and you've had to at times, quite brokenheartedly say no. When you really would love to say yes to helping some people as well. And it's just because you've literally had to, draw back and look after you, because this is part of that learning. And I think the thing is that sometimes, that love and support you're giving this young man to become all he can be, and all the things he's going to be able to create change with, well, that is your change you're creating in society, right there in that one person. And sometimes that can be even more valuable than literally going out and sogging yourself half to death, frankly, or just really doing way too much for yourself. So, just be proud in the change you're creating in the world here, because that young man is part of that change. And I really think he's going to go a long way, not just in a sort of corporate sense or a career sense or a money sense. I think he's going to go a long way in a community sense much later. And he's going to be involved in what I was saying, some of this sweeping change that's going to come through. There's going to be more heart in the decisions being made, around the time that he comes to his full, potential, which is going to be, 40s or onwards. So the best hasn't even yet come. So I just want you to sort of...
He just turned 29, and his exact words were, "I'm here to make a difference, a change in this world."
Oh, he absolutely will. And it's not even a case of the old saying of those mad enough to think they can change the world often do. He's very sane. And God, we need that at the moment, don't we? We need that in the world. There's so many people
he keeps to himself. He's autistic. He's on the high end of the spectrum. He was diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome, but he is very minimalist. He doesn't need a lot. He's just very happy with him and his cat, But I told him that I just realized that I'm an empath and a light worker. And I thought he was going to think that was crazy, but he didn't. It was really nice.
Gets it. He gets it. See, people misunderstand the spectrum. They think that it means you lack empathy or you can't process emotionally or you don't have emotions. My God, they can really have emotions. It's just that they process it differently in order to stay safe on some levels. For other people, it's for different things. And I can't possibly generalise the spectrum because there are so many different manifestations of that. So I just want to make it very clear I'm not generalising that. But he understands human emotion probably better than a lot of psychologists. He just processes this very, very differently, and he's going to do everything in his own unique way. Like I said, he's different to the other kids, and thank God for that, because, there's plenty of Barbie dolls out there, but what wisdom do they offer us? Probably not much. Is it a realistic stereotype physically to follow? No. If he was everyone's cup of tea, it'd probably be called Twinings or possibly Bushels. But no, he is himself, a unique person. People will either take to him or really not take to him. But I take it more as a measure of them as to whether they sort of see the beauty of the soul that is him, as against, making a short judgment based on just the aesthetics here. He's quite unique, and I think really needs to be celebrated in what he's going to achieve when he does. And he worries about getting a big head, but that's never going to happen. I mean, he's got a big brain.
I don't see that.
He's never going to get a big ego.
My last question is about my grandmother. She was 99 when she passed away, and I tried to take my life 5 years ago, and she was here. Is it possible that when I smell the roses, she's here with me?
The roses? The roses, is that right?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. I was actually seeing purple roses for some reason. Sorry, say that again.
She wore a perfume that had roses in it. And when she's in my apartment, I can smell the roses.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you think about it, rose is the flower of love. And, that's that sort of perfection that's capable in the rose, because you've got the rose and the thorns, and through the soft, you touch the petals of the rose and they're silky, smooth and soft, and then you've got thorns. And sometimes in life we have the thorns and sometimes we have the flower and the perfume. And it's just a reminder to celebrate the beauty of the rose and the flower itself. So when she does come through, I think she absolutely brings that through with her. There's also a bit of a lily smell with that as well, not just rose. So it'd be interesting to know what that perfume is. But she's very much with you when she needs to be. And there are two squabbling sisters. I don't know who they are.
Oh my God!
Sisters.
Okay.
You know who they are at all? Because he's talking about squabbling sisters.
I have two younger sisters.
Yeah, hello. Okay. Yeah, well, you're the nicer one. Oh God, I've said that on global radio. Oh well, I think they definitely are a wonderful reminder of the depths of emotion and life that you've certainly attained, and they certainly argue over some pretty small stuff, don't they? And good on them for that, because it reminds you. Sometimes it's the banality of life. Like whenever someone around me dies or there's some really tragic, rather devastating like disaster like the Black Saturday bushfires we had in Australia, there's always someone nearby saying something really stupid and shallow, and I sort of sit there and I go, oh. And what I figured out it is it's the universe's way of reminding you you're doing pretty good. Because that other person, all they're worrying about is this little thing over here, and you've just dealt with that. And you could just, if there was only that big thing to sort of look at and go, oh my God, how am I dealing with this? And not this sort of ridiculous little thing that someone's worrying about over here. You could just get lost in the horror, the grief, the sadness of life, of what's happened. And then this person comes along and says something so ridiculously stupid, or is worrying over such a petty thing. What it is, it's the universe's way of getting you to laugh. It's a very dark humour. But what it does is it reminds you that life's not going on and there's other things to look at. So just after the Black Saturday bushfires, there was a 20-something-year-old, very, very privileged white blonde girl sitting opposite me one day, because I've got a wristband on me that allows me to get up to the bushfire sort of disaster zone, because I was helping out a lot of behind the fire lines. And she said to me, but I'm so broken up because we were going out for 6 weeks and I'm absolutely devastated that you broke up with me and you can't possibly know how hard my life is, she said, as I held a wristband to let me up into the fire zone. So I sort of thought about that, and what it is, it's that universal humour. So when you're thinking about your sisters, just remind yourself it's only a joke, to send them love and to just keep moving on.
I've lost 18 people since last Father's Day. They've died. They found my ex-husband dead at 56 at Christmas. I'm having a hard time processing one death, never mind 18 deaths. Do you have any idea how I can do that?
One day at a time. We're running out of time ourselves, but one day at a time, literally. You can connect with me off air on Facebook if you need to, but one day at a time is your best way. That's all we've got time to. I wish I could connect with you longer. We'll connect with you next week. Sorry for those we couldn't reach. And we'll look forward to connecting with you next week on Soulstar Radio. In the meantime, I'm sending you all love. Remember to connect with me off air, darling. Okay. Thank you so much, Michelle, and everyone who's been watching.